I heard a story about the Kensei. A man said his large sword was impractical. He also said it was just compensation for the Kensei's lacking manhood. His opinions on the sword are debatable, and we'll never be sure if the latter statement is true. But there is one fact in this story. The man who started the rumor, he doesn't have a head anymore. For Honor currently features 12 playable characters and 4 character classes. Today, we're going to talk about the Kensei, a Vanguard class. Well-rounded and adaptable, the Kensei is a jack of all trades that excels at zoning and confusing his opponents with unpredictable attacks. Although his strongest attacks are relatively slow, the Kensei's reach as well as his flexible kit allows him to constantly change his patterns of attack, making him a threat even in protracted duels. The Kensei has 4 basic attack chains that act as a foundation for the rest of his kit. His chains that end in a heavy attack are unblockable when the final attack is dealt from the top. The Kensei's unique properties allow him to rapidly change the direction of his unblockable top heavy to either side without the use of the attack cancel button. When the direction of his unblockable attack is changed in this manner without the attack cancel button, his side attack becomes uninterruptible but can be blocked. This unique property makes the Kensei very difficult to predict. While it's very unlikely that you'll ever land 3 hits in a row on a competent opponent, the Kensei can utilize chain starters to hasten the advance of his attack chains. Helm Splitter, Forward Dash Light Attack, Swift Strike, Side Dash Light Attack, and Guard Break all take the place of the first hit in the Kensei's chain. Guard Break can be used as the first and second hit of a chain when followed by a throw. If you manage to throw an opponent while they're out of stamina, congratulations, they're going to fall to the floor like a toddler and you'll get to land an unmitigated top-heavy attack. The same applies if you push someone up against a wall. If you throw them normally, you can attempt your unblockable attack, but it can be parried, dodged, and punished. As flexible as the Kensei is, he's a one-trick pony, but his one trick is incredibly powerful. As a Vanguard, he relies heavily on fundamentals. For the Kensei, the most important fundamental is feinting. His unique ability to rapidly switch the direction of his top-heavy unblockable to an uninterruptible side-heavy or a normal light attack will catch even the most veteran players off guard, but only when used creatively and unpredictably. Seeing how your opponent attacks and likes to defend is key to landing attacks with the Kensei. Your first instinct might be to feint from the start of every encounter, but there are benefits to studying your opponent before you show them your best tricks. This might mean taking a few hits to the chin or knives to the gut, but once you do, your opponent won't know how to respond to your full list of abilities. At least not right away. As a Vanguard class character, the Kensei is very simple, but his simplicity is deceptive. Helm Splitter, Forward Dash Light Attack, and Grasping Pounce, Forward Dash Guard Break both start with the same movement. This means every time you move forward, if you've been varying your combinations, your opponent must play a guessing game. At the start of this duel with a Warden, I was favoring dash attacks, which means a dash guard break feels random and becomes much harder to counter. After seeing that pattern once though, my opponent adapted because he obviously didn't like getting slammed up against walls. With that in mind, it's time to change strategies again. Before we get ahead of ourselves, I think it's a good idea to test and see if our opponent falls for the same trick he fell for in the previous round. Helm Splitter, he's seen it before, so he's gonna block it with no problem. And he's obviously skilled enough to know how to block standard attacks. So that leaves us with our third and final option, Grasping Pounce. But, once again, he's seen it before, and he's not gonna be affected by it. In the previous rounds, I didn't make use of the Kensei's direction-changing properties at all, which leaves my opponent under the impression that I either don't like to do it or don't know how. Little does he know, neither of those things are the case. The element of surprise is valuable on every character in For Honor, but for the Kensei, it's an integral part of his kit. Without varied tactics, your opponent will parry you and chop your damn head off. With varied tactics, you'll be the one doing the decapitations. The Kensei's unblockable attacks are very powerful, but the fact of the matter is, they're not unstoppable. They can be parried easily by anyone that keeps a level head while a man with a big-ass sword is swinging at their face. For that reason, feinting is important, but so is battlefield placement. Paying attention to how your opponent likes to maneuver to deal with your attacks is key to landing them. In my experience, assassin characters tend to dodge to avoid slow heavy attacks, which means a feint to the correct side will result in an uninterruptible attack that will outdamage their dodge attack even if it connects. Against other classes that favor blocking and parrying, you can perform sidesteps of your own and follow up with a flurry of attacks and feints. Finally, duels aren't the only place the Kensei can find success. In 4 vs 4 content, the Kensei is a general-purpose character. Depending on how you selected your feats, you can excel at holding the front lines in Dominion, or you can be an aggressive team fighter. My personal favorite combination of feats are on screen now. Something of significance to note about the Kensei in group fights, he's great at it. Unblockable attacks are difficult to parry externally, so if you're in a 2 vs 1 situation in your favor, create some distance, wind up your attacks, and let the top heavy do the work for you. Overall, the Kensei is a very powerful character that can get inside the mind of his opponents very easily. If the person you're fighting doesn't think they can figure you out, you'll have free reign to attack from any direction you choose. Inversely, if you're predictable, you'll get shut down hard. So there you go. This has been an overview of the Kensei, one of the Vanguard class characters in For Honor. On that note, there are a ton of different ways to utilize a character, and there are little nuances to figure out for each one, and I'm sure I missed something, so let me know in the comments if you've got a cool way that you like to use the Kensei that I didn't mention. So, as always, the name of the game is For Honor, the name of the channel is iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.